Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept the humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Krishna Prabhupada, all glories to the revered speaker for today, His Grace Kaunteya Prabhu, and all glories to Samra Vaishnava devotees. We thank God for being here as always. Today is Wednesday, the middle part of the month of October, 15th. Prabhuji, we are so grateful to have your association today. And we may put the verse on the screen and then you may start speaking. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 13, text 36. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shaktundasit Shubha Ishana Sayur Idhodare Chamasa Karnarandre Prashitramasye Grasane Grahastute Yacharvanam Te Bhagavan Agniotram. So Shrak, just translation? We just go for the translations? Okay. What do you prefer?
Either way, we can do the word for word, or we can go straight to the translation.
Shrak, the place for sacrifice, Tunde, on the tongue, Asit, there is. Shruvaha, another place for sacrifice, Isha, O Lord. Nasayoho, of the nostril, Ida, the place for eating, Udare, in the belly. Chamasaha, another place for sacrifices, Karnarandre, in the holes of the ears. Prashritram, the plate called the Brahma plate, Asye, in the mouth. Grasane, in the throat. Graha, the place known as Soma place, to, but. Te, your. Yat, that which. Charvanam, chewing. Te, your. Bhagavan, O my Lord. Agnihotram is your eating through your sacrificial fire. Translation. O Lord, your tongue is a plate of sacrifice. Your nostril is another plate of sacrifice. In your belly is the eating place of sacrifice, and another plate of sacrifice is the holes of your ears. In your mouth is the Brahma plate of sacrifice. Your throat is the place of sacrifice known as Soma, and whatever you chew is known as Agni Hotra. By Srila Prabhupada. The Vedavadi says that there is nothing more than the Vedas and the performances of sacrifice mentioned in the Vedas. They have recently made a rule in their group to formally observe daily sacrifice. They simply ignite a small fire and offer something whimsically. But they do not strictly follow the sacrificial rules and regulations mentioned in the Vedas. It is understood that by regulation there are different plates of sacrifice required, such as Shrak, Shruva, Bharis, Chaturhotra, Ida, Chamasa, Prashitra, Graha, Agniotra. One cannot achieve the results of sacrifice unless one observes the strict regulations. In this age, there's practically no facility for performing sacrifices in strict discipline. Therefore, in this age of Kali, there is a stricture regarding such sacrifices. It is explicitly directed that one should perform Sankirtan Yagya and nothing more. The incarnation of the Supreme Lord is Yageshwar. Unless one has respect for the incarnation of the Lord, he cannot perfectly perform sacrifice. In other words, taking shelter of the Lord and rendering service unto him is the factual performance of all sacrifices. As explained here, different plates of sacrifice correspond to the different parts of the body of the Lord's incarnation. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, it is explicitly directed that one should perform Sankirtan Yajna to please the Lord's incarnation as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This should be rigidly followed in order to achieve the result of Yajna performance. Om Jnati Mirandasya Gnanjana Salakaya Chakshunam Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo. Om Shabdagya Shristavadaya Shrimad Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurvani Pacharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Vancharal Parvishagrivasanasha Vishnabhyo Namo Namaha. So, the idea here is that different parts of the Lord's body are different plates for sacrifice. In other words, just like we sing at the Govinda, Angani Asya Sakalendra Vrittimanti, the Lord can perform any activity through any part of his body. He can eat just by glancing to the food. So similarly, what I would like to speak today is that there are many forms of devotional service and many forms of sadhana that sometimes devotees neglect or misunderstand. I'll give you an example. I was just in Europe recently. We came back today to India, and we stayed in one house, and the lady of the house is very devotional, very strict in her sadhana. She gets up at 3 o'clock every morning. She has many deities, she does the puja, she chants around. But during the day, sometimes she's really heavy with her husband. Meaning sometimes she just insults him in public in a way that, I felt very inappropriate for devotional life. I'm not saying husbands are always perfect. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying the wives cannot sometimes express their dissatisfaction, of course. What I'm saying is that sometimes devotees, that's my observation, tend to think that sadhana is always till 9 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock. In other words, still one does the Shravanam Kirtanam, the japa, the puja, and then that's it. That's the sadhana. That's over. And then the rest of the day, let our instinct take over. Of course, we're still vegetarian. We're still not doing anything illegal. But it's more like, okay, now I can unleash my spontaneous feelings. So we need to understand what sadhana means. Just like Srila Prabhupada is explaining to us here, what sacrifice is. He uses this expression at the very beginning of the verse. He says, the Vedavadi says that there is nothing more than the Vedas and the performance of sacrifice mentioned in the Vedas. So sometimes Vaishnavas, devotees, seems to think, they may not say, but seems to think that sadhana is over once you finish your puja, your japa, and whatever you do, maybe reading the Bhagavatam or listening to Hare Krishna Africa. That's sadhana. The rest is not. Your work is not sadhana. You're dealing with children is not sadhana. You're dealing with parents is not sadhana. You're dealing with wife is not sadhana. You're dealing with husband is not sadhana. And actually, this is a major misunderstanding, major obstacle. And so we see devotees, even if they're very strict in their Shravan and Kirtan activities, they're very loose in the rest. And see, we need to understand what is sadhana bhakti. Rupa Goswami in this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu clearly explains sadhana bhakti means what brings us to bhava bhakti. In other words, it's a process to come to the point of experiencing emotions. ecstatic emotion for the Lord. It's a practice. Now, sadhana and sadhaka. Sadhaka is the person who performs sadhana. Now, if one is a serious sadhaka, it's sadhaka all day. It's not just sadhaka from, say, 4:30 to 9, like that. That may be, of course, they may be the most important part because we are directly in touch with Krishna, with his holy name, through japa, with the murti, through puja, and through the sound vibration, by hearing Bhagavatam, by reading Bhagavatam. Yes, maybe that's, of course, a central, crucial, essential part of sadhana, because that brings us directly in touch with Krishna. At the same time, a sadhaka doesn't stop being a sadhaka. Now, and everything, during every interaction with whoever, especially the family, but anybody in the bus, in the train, in the airplane, everything should be part of that sadhana. Every interaction should help. It can help or it can degrade. Every interaction can help us come to bhava bhakti, or can create an obstacle or a means of stagnation, means of indifference, and so on. I give you another example. Again, in this recent tour, I met a devotee. I frankly say he's a very advanced devotee. He's a leader, he inspires many people, and he's really attached to his puja, he's attached to his chanting, he's a true yogi. At the same time, he got married some years ago, and somehow is still not, assimilating the fact he is married. And so what I hear from the proverbial reliable sources is that he treats the wife very badly. In public, he insults her, he criticizes her in front of the children, in front of other people. Now, then he also was saying, in another confidential exchange, he was saying, look, I feel stuck in my spiritual life. Now, is sadhana, meaning is sadhana with the deities, is sadhana with this puja and the chanting and everything else, is, we could say, very good. So maybe I'm saying, maybe I cannot say what's the cause of what, but maybe his stuckness depends on how he treats the wife, who is also a very serious Vaishnavi. So this is what I want to express today. Just like the different parts of the Lord are different plates. We cannot say, no, only the mouth is the plate for sacrifice because we offer the food and so on. Also the nostril, also everything we could see. The ears, the mouth, the throat, and so on, your tongue, nostril, belly. So the nostril, one may think, well, what's a nostril anyway? Yeah, but still, even through the nostril, he say if you cook food, Krishna enjoys also the smell of the food. So Krishna can enjoy, or we could say resent, any of our activity, 24 hours a day. Just like Srila Prabhupada wrote to one Mataji, Arundhati, say, for you, child worship is more important than deity worship. She apparently was very fired up. Is one of the first devotees, very fired up about devotional service. So she apparently tended or risked to tend to neglect their children. And so Srila Prabhupada said, look, for you, child worship is more important than deity worship. In other words, you have a duty. This is a soul that took birth from you, took birth in your family. It's a sacred duty how you treat this person. Not that, oh, I'm my deity, sorry, you go, no, wait, you cry, you need milk, but I don't have time for you. I don't need, you need a meal. I don't have time for you, and things like that. And this is born often out of a misunderstanding of what is devotional service or what is sadhana. And so we may tend to neglect human interactions, especially with our family, because we may take the family for granted. We are married since 10 years, we are married since 5 years, we are married 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. Okay, this person is always around, so we can kind of be a bit not so careful, be a little careless. If we deal with our bosses at work, we are very careful, or every word is calibrated. If we deal when we preach to people, we are very careful, every word is fine-tuned, how to help the soul understand. But when we deal among, say, with children or with wife with husband, we may tend to just be loose, just let the instinct fly. And sometimes these instincts are not so favorable. We may say harsh things, we may say discouraging things, we may see things, we may not think, how can I be affectionate, how can I encourage, how can I be a better husband? Because we think anyway, we're devotees, what is this husband thing, what is this wife thing? No, samsiddhir arito shanam, varnashram, that means every role in society, it's meant to please the Lord. So we should meditate. Is my interaction during lunch pleases the Lord or not? Is it a help towards in my path of Bhava Bhakti? Or it's an obstacle, or it's an interruption, it's a waste of time. Just like we know, am I doing prajalpa? Am I doing gramya kathas? I'm a little gossipy. So I want to stress this because, of course, I saw also very beautiful situation, everything. And this, again, these two examples, the wife who blasts the husband in public, or the husband who seriously neglects and also insults the wife in public, tries to humiliate her, these are not favorable to sadhana. They're not favorable to our developing our love of God. It's not necessary, and let's not think that, oh, anyway, it's my wife, anyway, it's my husband. Let's not think that there are no consequences. There are consequences, sometimes subtle consequences. We lose taste. Why? We know, of course, offenses to Vaishnava make us lose taste. So if we, let's remember, if we are married with anybody, but especially to a Vaishnavi, then if we don't behave properly, it's an offense. And that counts. It's not that Krishna says, okay, with everybody you should deal nicely like a gentleman, and then at home you can be just a brute, a barbarian. It doesn't say like that. And those are the challenges. I told his wife, we were actually doing the class, I told, because everybody, she's so open that everybody knows this nature, right? It's not a secret, right? So I said, look, just like you chant 16 rounds, then you should tolerate 16 things that your husband does. So she said, no, 16 is too much. And okay, I mean, okay, at the beginning may seems too much, but do 2, 3, do as a austerity. Okay, the first 2, 3 things, because she says my husband does things sometimes without informing me, he's sloppy, his room is a mess. Okay, I'm just giving an example. Okay, as a sadhana, you get up at 3, chant your round, do the puja, do it, maybe cook for the deities and everything. Then at least 2, 3 things of the husband you tolerate. As an austerity, you feel like to blast him, and instead you may just say in a more, Prabhu, look, you left the socks all over your room. I would appreciate if you can pick them up, like that. And similarly, any interaction was can be and is an opportunity. Like we flew back from Italy to India, and I want to dress in dhoti. I put a nice dhoti, nice kurta, even a gilet with the ISKCON logo. just because I was thinking, look, we are, at least in Italy, we are almost invisible. We're almost invisible. I mean, if you see this, the percentage of people, how many are Hare Krishna, how many are devotees. So at least for this time, hundreds, thousands of people see that there is a Hare Krishna around. In fact, especially there were different Indian flight attendants. In both flights, there were some Indian flight attendants. They say Hare Krishna. As soon as they saw me, dhoti, kurta, tilak, somewhat almost shaved up, but with sika, neck bit. So at least those people, at least for a moment, they thought of Krishna. I'm sure many other people thought of Krishna without saying Hare Krishna. They must say, oh, Hare Krishna. Like that. So, and again, it starts with the understanding. If we think, okay, I finished my rounds, my job is down, finished, my sadhana is finished, then it's not the right understanding. I'm sorry. It's just not the right grasp. It's just not the right grasp. And we miss opportunities. We miss opportunities. We miss opportunities that could help us, but instead we miss them, and we may also do offenses. And I can give so many examples. I mean, in the past, some devotees are still traumatized, some like children, because they were neglected, and they were neglected because in the name of devotional service. Or I heard something a few days ago, really crazy, that in some school, one punishment for children who misbehave was to chant extra rounds, so that for the rest of their life they think chanting Hare Krishna is a punishment. Can you imagine? In your brain it's like, okay, rounds, it's a duty, it's a chore, you got to finish because I don't know, otherwise God punishes you, I don't know, whatever. And if you're bad, you chant extra rounds. Imagine the mentality that creates. Is very bad parenting or schooling. So this is the message of today. Sadhana is whatever helps us come to Bhava. And our relation with devotees, friends, neighbors, community members, and so on, is crucial in that. It's crucial in that. Even with other living entities. I was in a farm some time back, also in this tour in Europe, and there was this, they keep some birds in some in the cage and some in the a larger cage, but still they can't fly out. Now they say, well, if we leave it out, the cat eats them. But personally, if I were a bird, I'd probably prefer 1 minute, 1 hour of freedom flying around. Then, okay, I get eaten by a cat, Hare Krishna. It takes 1 minute to die. Not that staying in a cage or staying in a larger, there's a big net that cannot fly. So that's like, there is a story famous in South India, famous, great devotee, but he had kept a bird in the cage, and so he had to explain jail. So sometimes we think, well, we keep it in the cage, we give some prasad, it's okay. No, this jiva has got the body of a bird, you have to fly out. I'm not saying this in an absolute way, because some birds which have never been in the wild, they will die in 1 minute, and it's just not good for them. But if there is always a risk in the wild, but that doesn't authorize us to keep people. These are people, animal, bird people, to keep them in cage. And then if we feel we end up stuck in something, in a jail or in an internal mood of stuckness, we feel not going anywhere, and maybe that's the reason. You're torturing a bird just to enjoy, okay, oh, nice plumage. Now, oh, it makes nice sound. But then you're making the bird suffering. Okay, so this is my message for today. Any question or comments, reflections, experience you want to share?
Well, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for speaking. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, like our speaker just said, please you indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflection. Hare Krishna. Well, Prabhuji, like I said, thank you so much for sharing. And yesterday, I had the opportunity to also speak, and I find your delivery today as kind of continuation of what I was trying to say yesterday. I'm very grateful to myself. My false ego is telling me I wasn't completely lost in what I was saying yesterday, but thank you so much for sharing. And the problem I have, which I was trying to express yesterday, is that oftentimes we as devotees in ISKCON knowingly or unknowingly also become Vedavadis ourselves.
Sorry, become what?
Vedavadi.
Vedavadi.
Yes. Like you were saying, sometimes we become so strict to regulations, principles, but we do not care much about how we're making our fellow devotees feel. So my question from today's class is, what do you say about the devotees who, as a matter of affection, like describing about the birds, like to have fish tank in their homes? At my workplace, there is a big fish tank with an eel in the tank. And from time to time, I tell my co-workers, I don't really appreciate that we have this eel in this tank, because it's just like eel being in the water now is being taken out of the water and is kept in this place all by itself. So it's like you are in jail. So my question is, what do you say about devotees having something like a fish pond in their homes and having live fish in the pond, or devotees wanting to give some sort of help to a particular soul in the body of a dog or in a cat, and then they keeping the dog, the cat in the same household? Is that appropriate? Is that proper?
Okay, so I don't want to make absolute statements. As I said before, with birds, some birds, they are born in captivity. They cannot live outside because they will just die in a few seconds. And of course, depends also, is a big cage that they're there are different species of birds. Some may be kind of comfortable in a big cage. They go fly around, they have company. Of course, if they're just alone, they just go mad, right? I remember once I was passing through a zoo, and I saw like a little fox that practically apparently just went mad, just was going up and down, 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 up and down in the cage. Practically, it just went mad because obviously there's no point in going up and down. What's the point? So I remember once I was doing book distribution in North Italy, and I was in a house and they had birds in the cage, but every day they will open the cage and make them fly around in the house in the house. So at least they had there's some exercise, we could say. No, they could actually fly. And they were explaining to me, no, if we leave them open, they'll die in a few minutes because some cat, some dog, some other animal, some other bigger bird. So I don't want to say it's like something absolute. So fish, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert in marine life, but some fish they may be comfortable in a large aquarium or something. They may be kind of comfortable. They got protection, they got food, they got prasadam occasionally. So it may be a benefit. Others, like an eel that is big and they need space, would be like a torture. So I would say let's be very careful, because when we create pain, that pain comes back to us. Especially if we do it just for sense gratification, means, oh, we have a small aquarium, just we like to see fish sometime. No? And then, okay, but what this fish think? What this fish feel? Are we just like a jailkeeper for them? Now, dogs and cats. Again, I don't want to say anything absolute. I was in a farm, and the dogs had actually 7 big dogs, but never inside the house. Really big dog. One was like it's a species it's a race I never heard about, the Kangal. It's like a small horse, and others were also very big, and there's 7 of them. But they say they're very useful because sometime at night there are boars. It's a rural place. Sometimes there are thieves. They come and steal stuff, utensils, and farm equipment. So they do their service, and they're very nice. In fact, they didn't bother us. They didn't bother us at all. Sometimes, of course, they don't know us, so they started barking. But because I knew the name, I just said the name was Shambhu. I said, Shambhu, shut up. And he shut up. He was a little confused how this guy knows my name, but he shut up. He just shut up. So it was not aggressive. So it was a very good dog. And they have plenty of space to roam around. They have many hectares. So keeping a dog like that, I don't think there's anything wrong. They do service, they protect the property, and everything is happy, I guess. It's a win-win situation. They live with the devotees feel more protected. At the same time, these dogs in the house, they're very moochy. Dogs are moochy, unfortunately. Cats are very moochy. I mean, think of a cat. How they wash themselves is to lick themselves. So their saliva is all over the body. That's that type of species. They do that. Nothing wrong if they are outside, but in the house means your whole house is full of cat saliva. And the whole house, if you have a dog, is full of dog's hair. And just sometimes I see devotees, they touch the dogs, even they kiss the dogs. I think this is not so much in Africa, right? In Africa, still there's some civilization. But outside, it's like the dogs is more than a kid. In Korea, for instance, now people don't want to have kids, but they have dogs. There's a huge economy, billions of dollars on dog care. Because obviously a kid is a lot of problem. The kid, you have to put to school, and then they misbehave. The dogs are nice to have. No, they never complain, they never protest. Maximum they bark, but generally they're quite malleable. They're quite amicable, no? And you come back home after a hard day of work, the dog comes there, it wags his tail, so you feel, oh, he loves me, like that. So I understand the attraction, but I cannot just support it, especially to have dogs in the house. Now, people may say, no, but the children, if there is a dog in the house, they build up some emotional rapport. Look, we are not meant to build rapport with animals. I saw in my family, my sister, she is very compassionate in that. She picks up stray dogs, stray cats. She has now 8 cats. she just recently got a cat which is completely blind. And another cat that's a dwarf cat somehow. There are dwarfs apparently also that are. And sometimes she picks up dogs. I remember one dog. That dog was completely traumatized. Who knows what happened to the dog in the street? And completely afraid. Completely afraid. I mean, you expect that she would know that we are part of the family. You know, she could see, but she was just never come near. Anyway, so I'm just saying there may be so it's dangerous to develop one's affection for a dog. We all know the story of Bharat Maharaj, and that was a deer that was in the forest, so it was also more natural. But when in the house, first of all, in the house, dogs may actually suffer unless you have a big courtyard, big garden. They suffer in the house. They're not meant to be in the house. But the main problem for a devotee is two main problems, I would say: attachment for dog and cleanliness. Cleanliness. Everything becomes contaminated. And the attachment for the dog, because this species is like, it's like the deer, the deer of Bharat Maharaj. They're cute, they're submissive, they're friendly, and so we become attached, and this is dangerous. This is very dangerous. I remember one family was talking, their dogs. After some time, they always end up talking about dogs. I don't know if you ever noticed this. We talk about this and that, and then in a few minutes it's shifted to the dogs, the personality of the dog. Oh, this dog is like this, more introvert. This dog is more extrovert. They did this today. They did that yesterday. You know, it's like it's a dog kata. And devotees, I mean, I've seen devotees kissing dogs, keeping them. You know, I mean. It's unfortunate. Dogs and cats, they're dirty. If you're trying to live a Brahminical life, you can't have too much to do. Of course, as I said, if you live in a farm, you have dog, okay, once in a while you are sweat, you're cleaning the land, you touch the dog, it's not a problem, okay? Then you take a shower. But in the house, you're supposed to be a shower every moment practically. Anyway, these are some considerations. I know many Western devotees will feel offended, but what can I do? No, this is my understanding of reality. We have Madhuvan Prabhu who was patiently keeping his hand up.
Yeah. Hare Madhava Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you very much for Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. We so much appreciate your coming to this platform today. And the discussion also is very, very important. That reminds me one time, my wife was keeping a parrot in the house, you know, always giving it food, taking care of it. But
A cow? Sorry, what is that?
No.
I can't hear. I can't hear very well.
A parrot.
Parrot. Can you speak a little louder?
Yes. Okay, parrot.
Yes, parrot.
Parrot, yes.
Yes. Very beautiful parrot, and she was keeping it for some time. But there's a particular time the parrot the cage was open, so the parrot flew away. So it was that then I realized that the parrot wasn't happy with us. He wasn't happy because the slightest opportunity the parrot had to escape, it just flew away. So all the care, all the whatever we think we have been doing to her, she wasn't very pleased with it.
Okay, so it's a comment. It's not a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a comment.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for sharing. In other words, you're saying that given the choice, the parrot would not stay in the house. Of course, we also don't know what happened to the parrot because he might wanted to come back, but he faced some obstacle. Maybe got caught by somebody. I don't know, but yeah, we cannot force entities into being with us. I mean, there are domestic animals, horses, cows, dogs. If you have a garden, stay outside and guard the sheep. That can be very useful, of course, but just as pet, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Some parrots like to stay. No, some parrots, they don't even stay in the cage. I see some people keep the parrot in the house. It seems that they like to stay. Apparently, your parrot didn't like very much to stay.
Well, thank you so much, Madam Prabhu, for sharing that. I believe your wife was not happy that you lost the parrot. But Prabhuji, since this particular verse deals so much about sacrifice. I mean, the word sacrifice appears like 8 or so times in this verse. So my question is, what does it really mean when the scriptures talk about sacrifice? Is it like someone sacrificing his time for sense gratification for the service of the Lord, or performing rites or rituals like fire sacrifice and things like that? What does the scripture really refer to or mean when it talks about sacrifice? And which sacrifice, if it is performance of yagya, like fire sacrifice or things like that, which are recommended, which are not recommended?
Thank you. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 6th chapter, Krishna gives different types of sacrifice, means things that purify the performer, like atiti, seva, serving the guests, serving orphans, serving widows. So there are many performances. We could call it in English, of course, sacrifice is an English word. It means to make it sacred, to reconnect the nature of an object, of an asset, to God, or at least in an altruistic sense. So, say charity, every form of charity, unless it's really stupid. Sorry, I got one insect in my mouth. I'll go and wash.
Please do. Sorry. Yeah. But to the devotees who were here yesterday, I was saying that I find Prabhuji's kata today as a continuation of what we were discussing yesterday. Because the Veda Vadis still appear in today's text. So there are many things Prabhu mentioned that I believe we all can relate to. Because
Okay, sorry, I'm back.
yeah, Hare Krishna. Well,
so there are many forms in every tradition of improving our consciousness, improving our karma. Sacrifice, Shri Krishna explained that the sacrifice of knowledge, meaning putting our head in the scripture, really learning. It's an austerity, it's a sense control. There is a sacrifice of goods, like we have money, we give it to somebody else. So all of this purify us, depending, of course, on the type and on the consciousness and on the intensity. Of course, if you have $1 million per year and you give $10 charity, you won't get much purification. But if you give a good percentage, then of course is substantial. And if you give to Krishna, of course, it's devotional service, direct devotional service, not some indirect pious activity. But still, you're getting things out of your hands for the good of other people. So that's a form of austerity, of sacrifice, we could say. Now, the yagyas, it's a form of communication, it's a form of offering with higher realms. See, the fire, it's not just, we could say, a hobby, or it's not just aesthetics. The fire brings as this function, it brings the offering to the particular God, to the particular form that you offer into. It's like when you say go to the bank in America, you send money to Africa, you put it in the bank in say New York, and it comes to Lagos. How does it come? Well, we don't even know one cents, right? It's all electronic, it's all but you do something, it goes somewhere else. And also, what say $10 in America is, I don't know how many Nigeria, what's the money of Nigeria? The
Naira.
Nairas. So how many Nairas is $10?
I think it's some thousands of.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
similarly, when you do a yagya, you offer some ghee and grains in the fire, it like gets expanded, like multiplied by the laws of nature. So $10 become thousands of nairas. Similarly, okay, you give some ghee, maybe 1 kilo of ghee, it gets expanded by the laws of nature, by the techniques of the Vedas. Now, Srila Prabhupada, frankly, I'm not sure what he's talking about when he says that they have recently made a rule in their group. I'm not sure exactly what group is he talking about. If he's talking about the Arya Samaj, see, the Arya Samaj is a kind of a group in India that they say, no, we don't accept Puranas, we don't accept Gita, we only accept Vedas. He may be talking about them because they're quite weird, frankly speaking. They reject Krishna, but they say, no, only the Vedas, only the sacrifice of the Vedas, like that. So, but it's also, Srila Prabhupada also makes, they say, they offer something whimsically. Obviously, it's like make a phone call. You have to have the right number. If you even change one number, it doesn't work anymore. That's why you could see in this purport or in so many other purports, Srila Prabhupada, anytime there is mention of yagya, it says for Kali Yuga, the yagya Sankirtan. You can almost reset your watch. If there is a yagya mentioned, Srila Prabhupada says Sankirtan yagya. Why? Because these other yagyas, they work, but they follow very sophisticated rules. They need proper pronunciation, proper cleanliness, proper proper time. You cannot just do it at any time. But Mahaprabhu gave us, there's a Namna Makari Bhavda Nija Sarva Shakti Statrarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakalaha. There's no rules. You can chant at midnight, you can chant midday, you can chant on a bus, you can chant on a boat, you can chant in the dentist waiting room. But you cannot just have a yagi in the dentist waiting room for different reasons. First of all, because the dentist may not appreciate to have an open flame. But there are many rules, and people in this age cannot really follow all these rules. They're not qualified. So there are methods. There are methods of communication and offering, and fortunately or unfortunately, for us, it's much more simple. Unfortunately, because we are unqualified. Fortunately, because we can still do, just like Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Yagyanam Japa Yagyo Smi. I am, of all the yagyas, I am Japa. Also because Japa is direct. You take the name and on your lips is direct. A yagya is only successful if everything is in place. But japa can be, it's direct. You are in touch with God directly. Other yagyas, we may even forget the purpose of the yagya. We may just be enamored by the procedure, enamored by the expertise, enamored by the externals. I don't know if this helps in any way.
Oh, yes, Prabhuji, very much. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so there is a principle, and the Bhagavad Gita speaks about this, no? Speaks about this, about how there are sacrifice of assets, sacrifice of sense control. I mean, we can read some verses if you like.
You say chapter 6?
Let me just get there.
Well, Prabhuji, we don't want to keep you too long either, because you need to take some rest.
Thank you. Yeah, but let me finish with this. For instance, okay, say for instance this verse, Bhagavad Gita 4. Okay, say 425, Bhagavad Gita. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering sacrifice to them, and some offer sacrifices in the fire of Supreme Brahman. 46. Some, the unalterated brahmachari, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control. And others, the regulated household, they sacrifice the object of the senses in the fire of the senses. 27. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblation into the fire of the controlled mind. In other words, these fires are not physical fires. Fire represents the recipient, the receptacle for sacrifice. So Krishna says, that's the fire. So for a brahmachari, it's the hearing process. They just learn the Vedas, learn the Shastra, and that the mental control, instead of spacing out, instead of just watching mundane news, that's their fire. So Krishna uses the fire as an analogy, because the fire is the receiver of these efforts. Okay? Should we stop here? Should we stop? Okay. I don't want to. It's not like I'm
I think Governor Prabhu has a question.
Okay.
Okay. Governor Prabhu, please, you may go ahead, you may unmute.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhu. My respectful obeisances to you and to the devotees. Prabhu, my question is about this sacrifice. Talking of fire, yagya, and different sacrifices to different personalities for different type of results. We know we are all born with different natures, and each and every one of us is awarded a certain type of work that should sustain him as he's on the planet in terms of his material needs. And so some are born as teachers, some are doctors, some are this and that. And someone is also born to learn these yagyas. So, is it anything wrong for a devotee of Krishna? You know, Srila Prabhupada has given us this process of devotional service. So if a devotee is following the process of devotional service by chanting his 16 rounds, following the 4 regulatory principles, and then rendering service to the Lord in different aspects. But at the same time, this person is inclined in performing different yagyas as a way of earning his living. Sometimes it looks like contradictory, it looks like the Karma Kanda section, but that is all he's inclined to do, to sustain himself, but at the same time, following the rules and regulations given by Srila Prabhupada. Is it anything wrong if someone takes a stance of doing that?
Well, it depends. How is it doing? For what is it doing? For whom is it doing? There, as you said, there are different type of yagyas, and there are different type of ceremonies. There are people who are inclined to ceremonies, to ritual. They
Yeah.
like all this little water, little bells, and little mudras. They like that's the, as you said, their nature. But again, for whom they do, when they do, how they do, will they do it as a purely as a business, or is that's devotional service? They maintain themselves in another way, and then of course their hobby, we could say, is doing yagya. Do they understand the process of yagya? Like for us, like in Mayapur, sometimes they do yagya, even big fire sacrifice, but it's a part of the deity worship. It's part of deity worship, so it's a form of archana. Just like dressing is archana, offering artik is archana, offering food is archana. So you can also offer yagya. Now, I cannot just say, no, there's no problem, or yes, there is a problem. We need to understand the situation, the person. Also, is it, I mean, how is an occupation? Do you have so many people want a yagya from you? I know, for instance, in South India, I know some brahmanas. My wife is like managing director of their activities. She connects with different people. They also do yagya they don't do anything else, but actually these are real yagya. These people have developed siddhis, perfections. They for some mantras. These are all Vaishnava mantras. These are Ramanujacharya's followers. Some mantras, to Hayagriva, to Sudarshan, they have activated those mantras by chanting those mantras literally millions of times. So it's not that they just do the ritual, chant a mantra from a book. They have the power from those mantras. They have connect with the deity. So the action, when they do something, it has power, it has effect, because they are truly invoking those divine personalities in our life, those blessings. I have personal experience. They can remove black magic, they can remove curses, they can remove by their chanting, they can remove some extra karma that we carry around. So depends. It's just like if you like, so some people are really good, and that's maybe their dharma is to do yagya and help people through yagyas. Some may just do it as a business, or some may be just a hobby, but they may not have much power. I don't know. You know, it's a complex issue, so it's not just yes or no answer. But we need to see also if this devotee understands that those yagya, they will not give you spiritual perfection. I mean, you still need to chant Hare Krishna. It's not that, okay, I do yagya, I don't do japa. So, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kavalam, kalo nashteva, nashteva, nashteva gatiranyata. So there are certain other practices that we can do, and like even Srila Prabhupada, when he was in New York at the beginning, he did a little fire yagya for the initiation. But it's more, I would say, it's more a formality. There's no real need. It creates a samskara, it creates a ceremony, it creates the seriousness of the situation. You invoke Vaishnava deities. So, but obviously, initiation means you follow the vows, you promise to the Guru to follow the vows. Like when Lord Chaitanya gives the names to Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis, you don't see any yagya been done. So those are part of that culture, but we need to see that this devotee understands. It will not just, it will not, you should not neglect the other more essential part of devotional service. So you have probably you have somebody in mind while you're asking this question. I don't know this person, so I cannot just give a clinical answer. I may not even be qualified, even if I knew the person. That's different. But these are general considerations.
Thank you very much. I asked this question for clarification to the minds of some of us because, when I joined this movement in 80s, I know some devotees who were walking barefooted. They don't want to wear even sandals.
Mm.
And I also know that those days when one put on pants or wear any, we call it kami dress, you don't put on dhotis and saris and wear any kind of attire, then people will look at you weird. And many, many things like that. And so also, we need to get a better understanding so that we don't commit offenses. That are devotees who are very, very much inclined in these ritualistic activities. Of course, it is offered in the Vedas. And just like Devantari, Krishna came as in his form as Devantari to introduce Ayurveda medicine. And so the devotees who are very much interested in medicinal path. And so they do it. And there are devotees who don't want to get involved in all those things. Primary physiology, numerology, astrology, and all these kind of ages. Some devotees don't want to get involved at all. But to get our mindset clear and straight, that doing such things, and at the same time one understand his position as a devotee of Lord Krishna and is devoted to his spiritual master. If I say devoted, means that he's ready to follow all the instructions given by his guru. And of course, Guru's instruction is also instruction of Srila Prabhupada. And what Prabhupada is giving is what Krishna is giving. But at the same time, he's going the Kamikandi section for his living. So if I don't get the clearer understanding of such people, then all what I would say is that these people are doing devotional service. Because of, they're doing yagya and different sacrifices and reading palms, and they are so much involved in these things. So then we are going to criticize. That's why I'm asking this question, to get it clear and straight that if you're following the principles, you still love your Guru and Krishna, you're chanting your 16 rounds, but at the same time, you are inclined to do this. One thing I noticed is this. There are people out there who will never chant Hare Krishna, who will never, observe any form of, like Ekadasi. But through these rituals and, these devotees introducing this out there, it's helping thousands of people to be chanting Hare Krishna out there, and some of them are even observing dry fast of Ekadasi. Of course, they do it with material motives, but they are not going anywhere but try to connect to Krishna in other way. But at the same time, we do not some of us don't understand them, thinking that they are doing something not recommended that much by Srila Prabhupada, and so we see them as such. And that is why I'm asking this question, so that
Yeah,
we
but
get
it's
a clearer
I
understanding.
mean, you bring up a good point. The point is the attitude. Why? What's the motivation? You're really doing it for bringing people to Krishna, as you said. Some people direct engagement in devotional service would be very hard, but maybe through some other means that you connect them. At the same time, depends how it is done. Like I know one devotee in a different continent. In Latin America, he was an astrologer, but then he also was trying to have sex with his clients. So, like my wife wrote in her book, How to Mess Up Your Life with Astrologer. He put a particular category, sextrologers. Astrologer will use this for seducing people because they get influence. So it depends also how good they are. I know some astrologers, for instance, I'm not an astrologer, but I know some astrologers, they don't know, for instance, matchmaking. They don't know because they don't know. And sometimes they good devotees, but they put people together and then after a few months they divorce because they miss some big thing. I remember one couple, they divorced after 11 months. One devotee, nice devotee, told him, no, yeah, go ahead, your match is good. And then when my wife checked it, he said, they're from this nakshatra, that nakshatra, lunar mention, 27 lunar mention. People from this nakshatra should never get married. It's just like oil and water. You should never get married. Stop, finish, bus. So, but this devotee, probably he didn't do with any malicious purpose, but he's ignorant. He doesn't know. So they put together some people, and then I remember 11 months they're divorced. So there are many considerations: the motivation and also the expertise. And so every case, I would say this: every case is different, and we have to see. But as you said, some devotees maybe use like even in the book. Servant of the Servant, Tamakrishna Maharaj book, he was saying the Radha Damodar, sometimes they will go to fair and one devotee will read the hands because it's attractive. People come and he will say something. I don't know if it was good or not, but then we'll sell a book that give prashada. So these are some parameters to evaluate. We may not want to judge anybody or condemn anybody, but we need to also use our discrimination. So the motivation, why they're doing, the expertise, how well they're doing, because otherwise they can really spoil people's life. Like Ayurveda. There was a devotee who was doing Ayurveda. And then I spoke with the Ayurvedic doctor he was studying, and he said he doesn't know anything, His doctor told me. He said just, it's dangerous. They say, half knowledge is dangerous. So your point is correct, and it's just we need to see how to apply to whom in what situation.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Jai.
Yeah, thank you very, very much, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much.
What I'm dragging on is not, there are imperfections everywhere. We are not perfect. And so actually in Kali Yoga, it is said that there's no Brahmin in Kali Yoga. But Guru Dev awards us Brahmanica initiation anyway to pretend to be Brahmins. And so there are imperfections everywhere.
The soul, every soul has a Brahminical qualities.
Exactly.
As we purify ourselves, the Brahminical quality comes out. So
yeah.
The soul, Brahmana means one who knows Brahman. So
that's right.
Brahman, especially Para-Brahman, we can act as Brahmanas. But we need to develop the Brahminical quality of the Bhagavad Gita. Cleanliness, austerity, peace of mind, knowledge, wisdom, faith in God. Then we may not be the Vedic Brahmanas that they lit the fire with the mantra. We may not be those type of Brahmanas, but we can be quite Brahminical. Even if our work is not Brahminical, the devotee can be have a Brahminical lifestyle. In other words, may not be a devotee, may be a carpenter. Okay, that's how he feeds his family. That's his job. But he can be Brahminical in his lifestyle. He can be clean. He can get up in the morning, chant his japa, eat only prashadam, and that's Brahminical. And he knows the Gita, and he gives knowledge to others when he has a chance, when he finds a chance. So that's a Brahmana. He doesn't have to be, pouring ghee all day in the fire.
Wow.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Jai.
Thank you so much. I saw him Sadhuta's hand up, but I think we may call it a day. Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Your Grace.
Yeah.
I have a question, but please, I'm somewhere which I will spend like 5 minutes, so I think maybe if I come back and it's possible, then I'll ask the question. It is related to what you are talking about, and I also need clarification. But I'm somewhere which is I cannot ask the question, so I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So
I will come back in 5 minutes time.
All right. When you come back 5 minutes time, Prabhuji will not be here.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, this network can help.
okay. All right. Of course. We thank all the devotees for the association, for their involvement, engagement, and hearing Krishna Katha and Shri Kaunteya Prabhu. I really appreciate that you're here, but at the same time, I feel a little guilty.
No, don't worry. You asked me if I wanted to skip it, but no, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, but
what is life without association?
Thank you so much, because it's not so easy flying in the air, getting to one place, and then immediately coming to speak. So,
no, it's a pleasure. A pleasure. It's a chance to use my brain somehow. So thank you for the patience. Thank you for the invitation.
Well, we have to say thank you so much, because especially like Govinda Prabhu's questions and follow-up questions, they were very helpful, especially with the answers you gave. Very, very helpful. So we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute yourselves, and we all with one voice, one heart, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace Kaunteya Prabhu, for sharing his love and wisdom with us all today. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Pancha kalpa tarabhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Bye. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
All glories to
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
All glories to Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Krishna Devotees ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you all.